Good morning. It is Friday, January the 21st, 2022. I'm James Brierton in Charlotte with continuing winter storm coverage here on the Carolina Weather Net and our platforms across the Carolina Weather Group. If you're watching the Carolina Weather Net, you've just wrapped up watching our recording from last night where Scotty Powell and Jared Smith talk about the factors that are influencing today's forecast, and they were answering your questions. We'll have updates just like this one throughout the day on the Carolina Weather Net, along with a replay of that forecast discussion and, of course, live continuing updates on the left-hand side of that Carolina Weather Net screen where you can see streaming radar, current conditions, and the latest that's happening. Let's go right out to Futurecast this morning and show you what we can expect as we head on through the rest of today. We're still watching for the possibility of more winter weather. Things quiet this morning and throughout the early parts of the afternoon after that cold front came through, bringing some wintry precipitation to the Carolinas overnight. But as we head on through Friday, we're watching for a little bit more precipitation to be pushed in across the Carolinas from that coastal low, combined with the frigid temperatures we have across the Carolinas. That could bring a coating of ice to places as far inland as Columbia, South Carolina, also Myrtle Beach or Wilmington, North Carolina. And then a little bit of snow as we make our way further to the north. As we head on to the evening rush hour, we could even see a few flakes falling in places like Charlotte, North Carolina, or flakes coming out of the foothills of North Carolina. And then as we head on through the dinner time hour, you'll see that line kind of consolidates along the I-77 corridor with snowflakes falling in places maybe still as far east as Columbia and Charlotte, but also as far east as Greensboro, High Point, Winston-Salem, and of course back across the triangle for Raleigh, Durham, and Cary. That eventually moves on out as we go through the overnight hours and things begin to clear, but certainly not warm. Let me show that to you one more time. So here's the Futurecast, our HRR model run on this Friday morning showing more wintry precipitation across portions of the Carolinas as we head on through this Friday. Don't expect a ton of snow in lots of places. I'll show you those snowfall accumulations in just a moment. Do expect frigid temperatures and the possibility of icing in many, many places. That's why the National Weather Service still has an effect on this Friday. Winter storm warnings, they're in pink. They are just to the east of the Raleigh area along that I-95 corridor all the way out through the Outer Banks. And even ice storm warnings for places like Wilmington. You can see those there on your screen in purple. That's where the bulk of the ice is expected to be. That other shade of purple that extends further to the west, not quite into Charlotte, but into places like Columbia, and down towards Charleston, South Carolina, that's for a winter weather advisory. And a reminder that an advisory is an upgrade from a watch. A winter weather watch means that winter weather is possible over the coming hours to days, but a winter weather advisory means that winter weather is imminently happening or will be here in the next little bit in a smaller amount than, say, a winter storm warning. So it's kind of a funnel, if you will, from warning, advisory down to watch. So we don't have any of those watches up across the Carolinas on this Friday. So if you're looking at this map right now and you're in one of these colored shaded areas, you're either inside that advisory or inside one of those warnings. Here's a look at expected snowfall totals across the Carolinas today from the National Weather Service. You can see the bulk of those snowfall totals will be across northeastern North Carolina. Places like Elizabeth City could see 5 inches of snow there in Elizabeth City. Plymouth, 6 inches. Greenville, North Carolina, 4 inches. Goldsboro, 3 inches of snowfall accumulation back across Raleigh. And we could even see a little bit of heavier snow back across places like Rockingham or Albemarle at about 2 inches. But we really, really are still cutting off that snowfall accumulation as you make your way to that I-77 corridor. Less than an inch possible with some of those afternoon snow flurries and maybe that brief line that we were talking about just a moment ago back across western portions of North Carolina. Here's a look at snowfall totals across South Carolina. We could see upwards of an inch in the Columbia area, but again, the higher numbers will be to the north and east. Less than we saw in North Carolina, of course, but you could still be talking about an inch of snow in some places. No snowfall accumulation in coastal communities in South Carolina like Myrtle Beach or Charleston, and that's because the threat there is going to be in the form of ice. So let me show you the expected ice accumulation as we head on through this Friday. We could see a coating of ice in places like Myrtle Beach, not quite into Charleston, but as you make your way down off of 95, you could see some icing along Interstate 26. And of course, that's the crux of this whole thing, is that travel is going to be impacted. Sumter could see maybe about a tenth of an inch of ice, along with Florence, and of course that'll be enough to disrupt travel. It's a good day just to stay on home. Our biggest ice threats will be back into portions of North Carolina. Elizabethtown, maybe 3/10 of an inch of ice. That's certainly enough to disrupt travel, but also look to bring down some power lines and some trees. So we'll be watching for that. And that extends even into portions of like Wilmington or Jacksonville, Camp Lejeune, of course, in that same area, and New Bern as well. So anytime you're talking about ice accumulations over a quarter of an inch, that is enough to be bringing down some power lines. And so on these cool Friday, do plan ahead if you can on ways that you might be able to stay warm yourself or your neighbors and your loved ones. If you were to lose electric heating, look to have some sort of safe alternative. If you're watching the Carolina Weather Net, we'll get you back to last night's full-length discussion with Jared Smith and Scotty Powell here next. A reminder that live conditions will be found throughout the afternoon on the left-hand side of the screen, and then we will interrupt that feed throughout the day for updates from other hosts here at the Carolina Weather Group, and I'll see you back here tonight for an update as well. So if you're looking for a place just to park and settle in on this Friday, check out the Carolina Weather Net. It's streaming for free on the Carolina Weather Group YouTube channel. You can get it any place that you watch YouTube, from your smartphone to your smart TV. But for now, in Charlotte, I'm James Brierton, and this has been a winter weather update from the Carolina Weather Group.